Okay, let's do this. Holy. So, I gotta get myself amped up for this one. I've been putting this project off for so long. It's been almost a month actually since I originally wanted to put this video out. I wanted this to come out the weekend after Alakazam versus Gengar. Then I got scared. I played badly with Gengar and I had a bad strat. And I was just like, well, maybe I should just not put this out until it's perfect. And then I procrastinated for a long time, so I don't even know if it's perfect now. Anyways, gotta loosen up. Okay, do the thing from the Phantom Menace. Am I ready to talk about Golem and Machamp? I think so. Unstoppable force versus immovable object. Today we're gonna find out which one complete. First line I messed up. Unstoppable force versus immovable object. Today we're going to find out which one can complete a solo playthrough of Pokemon Yellow with the greatest ease. I love these two Pokemon. Golem was one of my favorites as a child because it's an intimidating rock alligator. Today I can't help seeing a soccer ball with arms though. I still love you, Golem. At least they gave you a new form in Generation 7. Oh no, not another mustache Pokemon. Machamp, on the other hand, was my first shiny Pokemon card because it came as a part of the trading card game's Dual Deck starter pack. The day I got it, my mother and I played the game for 6 hours straight. She was so patient with my obsessive special interests. Well done, Mom. Here's the rules for today's Versus Challenge. I'll only use my starter in battle, I won't use any items in battle, I won't use any glitches or exploits, with one exception. The badge boost glitch can occur if the opponent triggers it, or if the move that I select would be a good choice if the badge boost glitch didn't exist. Finally, I won't use double team or rare candies. I'll judge these Pokemon with the following metrics. 1. Real time to completion. 2. Lowest level at completion. Finally, 3. The number of resets and blackouts. I recognize that you might love Machamp and Golem too, and in that spirit I'll be going all out to do my best with these two Pokemon. I'm still human, believe me. I make a lot of errors while I play. 4 times speed is just hard. Here are some things that are more challenging than they should be. Avoiding walls, entering doors, and selecting the correct move against Venomoth. These tasks are usually just beyond me, so forgive me when I mess up today. Before I start each of my playthroughs, I do an analysis of the Pokemon. Golem gets an incredible 110 attack and 130 defense, but underwhelming stats everywhere else. Its speed in particular is likely to cause issues. Machamp has one standout stat, 130 in attack. Its others are more evenly distributed, and most notably it has 10 more base speed than Golem. Machamp has 2 weaknesses, to Flying and Psychic, but these are only 2 times weaknesses, whereas Golem has 5 weaknesses, Grass, Water, Fighting, Ground, and Ice. Of these, Grass and Water are 4 times weaknesses. It's either a defensive tank or a slow glass cannon. At the start of the game, Machamp gets access to Karate Chop, Low Kick, and Leer. Karate Chop is a high critical hit ratio move, and it's likely going to give Machamp a big advantage. Golem, unfortunately, starts with only Tackle and Defense Curl, which is not a great starting set. From there it learns the terribly inaccurate Rock Throw. How is this fair? However, later it gets the outstanding Earthquake. Funnily enough, these two have almost the exact same TM and HM learn set. Golem gets 2 more moves, Self-Destruct and Explosion. Those aren't going to be very helpful today. Machamp appears to have better stats, type effectiveness, and starting move pool. I think it has an advantage, and I predict that it's going to be the Machampion today. Am I right though? Well, the community poll suggests that the majority of you agree with me. Now, let's find out for sure. In Generation 1, the probability of getting a critical hit is calculated with the Pokemon's base speed. So Machamp's 55 base speed gives it an 86% chance to crit with Karate Chop. In combination with Low Kick, Machamp has an answer for everything that the early game can throw at it. Chop the Bug and Flying types, and kick the Normal and Rock types. That last one sounds painful. Don't try this at home. The optional rival Spearow outspeeds, lowering my defense, and then Karate Chop fails to crit. Next, it outspeeds and does massive damage with Peck. I actually did a practice run of both of these playthroughs first to prepare for this video, and in that run, I didn't actually have a problem with this fight, so this sort of threw me off. I wonder if this sort of scenario is gonna play out later on. In the forest, I level up a bit against the optional bug catchers. The cornerstone of my plan is over-leveling. If I skip battles in Kanto, Machamp is going to end up walled in the mid-game by Sabrina and Koga. Against Brock, Low Kick lands and takes Geodude down in a single hit. Onix is next, and here we get to see one of the biggest drawbacks of Machamp's typing. Fighting moves have awful accuracy in Generation 1. Low kick misses and Onix begins its bide. I use Leer to avoid damage, it unleashes energy and then low kick knocks it out. Imagine kicking Brock's rock hard snake. That would just really hurt your foot. Machamp clocks in with a time of 5 minutes and 18 seconds. That's a great Brock split. While Golem gets started, I'll address the rival's evolutions for this video. I'm gonna defeat him at both locations, which will cause him to evolve his Eevee into Jolteon. Here's why I made this choice. If Golem is forced to lose against the rival in the lab, it's gonna take time and be significantly delayed due to its typing. Eevee knocking out Golem as it spams Defense Curl is a weird choice to make when trying to play through the game quickly. Not being able to defeat the optional rival forces Golem to train before Brock on wild Pokemon, additionally delaying its split. Finally, I want to compare these times with the times that Gengar and Alakazam got, and they both faced Jolteon, so this will allow for a more direct comparison. With the rival out of the way, Golem needs to train in the forest. I use up my PP first before I let the Pewter City Nurse Joy replenish it. Then I face the Light Years Junior trainer. I've planned this out so that when I defeat him, I'll be level 15 and able to face Brock, who is going to be a slog to get past. However, at this level it is possible. Geodude takes a lot of damage from Tackle considering that it's a rock type. When it faints, I'm in green health and I still have 21 uses of Tackle. Whoa, I found another way to write a sentence discussing my PP without directly saying PP. However, I probably shouldn't use that here because it's thematic to discuss PP when facing the rock-hard Pokemon trainers Onix after all. This fight is slow. Because Golem's speed, Onix moves first, meaning that Bide will start before I deal damage with Tackle. This does make Onix deal consistent damage against Golem, but over the time the rock-hard ball outperforms the rock-hard snake. Golem gets a time of 9 minutes and 27 seconds. I wish it was time to catch up, but the soccer ball can't start rolling yet. Rollout doesn't exist in Generation 1 after all. Instead, I get the awful move Rock Throw. After the same type attack bonus, it's a 75 power move, but its accuracy really brings it down. Like a rock being thrown, like it gets brought down by gravity. I swear I missed so many times against the bugs on this route. Tackle would probably just have been faster. In Mount Moon, I grab Mega Punch, and it adds to Golem's offensive abilities. I take the Dome Fossil. The rival on Nugget Bridge is easy because I resist normal moves, and Mega Punch deals massive damage. After that, there's one more mandatory Hiker fight, and Golem struggles to take the Geodude out. For this reason, I skip the second Hiker, walling off Seismic Toss, but I don't need it anyways. The Lass is next, and she was painful to get by with Omanite because it had a 4x weakness to grass. And Golem also has a 4x weakness to grass. However, in this case, Golem is just too strong and manages the Oddishes with ease. Once she's out of the way, I'm gonna skip Misty. Starmie is fast and knows Bubble Beam. Plus, if I go to Vermilion first, I get access to Dig and Body Slam. With these two moves, Golem's moveset is so powerful at this stage of the game. I can steamroll my way through the rival on the SSN and then dig back to Cerulean. Misty opens with Staryu. At level 26, Golem outspeeds and Body Slam knocks the Starfish out. But Starmie is next. It outspeeds and uses Water Gun. Okay, 35 hit points. The alligator burrows underground. Please do enough damage. It takes Starmie out in a single hit. Surge is next, and he isn't an issue for Golem. One dig takes care of his Raichu, and with that, Golem is starting to build some serious momentum. It's got a time of 23 minutes and 59 seconds. Levels are so important for Machamp, so I fight a few extra trainers who have normal Pokemon between Pewter and Cerulean. I pick up Mega Punch, and with all 4 of its fists, Machamp punches its way through the Super Nerd and obtains the Dome Fossil. All is right with the world. The rival on Nugget Bridge and all the other trainers here are easy. In this run, I do pick up Seismic Toss, but right after I grabbed it, I remembered that I probably should have just left it. With Nugget Bridge behind me, I can face Misty. Karate Chop takes Staryu to low red health because I failed to crit. The Starfish tackles my champ for minimal damage, and then I knock it out. Starmie is next. I choose Mega Punch, and Misty uses X Defend. Mega Punch does so much damage, bypassing Starmie's new defense boost due to a critical hit. Machamp clocks in with a time of 14 minutes and 50 seconds. I teach it Dig and then Body Slam. With these two, it's easy to take care of the rival. Surge is next. Raichu is first. It goes for Thunderbolt, and Machamp survives, allowing it to dig. One hit from the ground move is all that Machamp needs to clock in with a time of 18 minutes and 29 seconds after Surge. Rock Tunnel isn't really an issue. The Slowpokes slow me down because they're annoying and force me to heal with potions. Then the Hiker with the team of self-destructing Pokemon gets completely wrecked by Low Kick. I've reached Celadon City. Machamp takes his supplements. Gotta get swole, and then I teach it Rock Slide. Even with a pre-workout shake, building muscles is a serious grind. I would know after all. I've built many impressive muscles making Pokemon videos non-stop over the last few months. But honestly, I didn't really need to build those muscles because I've got a naturally muscular and impressive physique. Machamp, on the other hand, needs to work to obtain its defined Chad bod. Koga and Sabrina are coming up after all, and Machamp needs all the speed that it can get to defeat them. I'll grind through the entire story now, facing almost all of the trainers to gain the experience that Machamp needs. You might think that Machamp would struggle in Pokemon Tower, but not with Rock Slide and Dig. The Chandler here are actually perfect to train against because the free heals allow me to avoid trips to the Pokemon Center. Nurse Joy has a really chatty nature anyways. Shut up, Nurse Joy, I just want to play Pokemon, not chat. After obtaining the Pokeflute, I go to Sylph. With Karate Chop, Submission, Dig, and Rock Slide, Machamp has an answer for everything a Rocket Grunt can throw at it. This makes the experience easy to obtain here. Right now, it might seem like I'm overleveled and that I should try to proceed at a lower level. However, with the goal of fastest real-time completion and the least resets, this is the best option. The Sylph rival opens with Sandslash, and Machamp's Submission takes it into orange health. It retaliates with Swift for very little damage and then I knock it out. Cloyster's up after Ninetales faints, and I've taught Machamp the awful move Submission just to deal with this clamping shell. Luckily for me, the terrible fighting move gets a boost because of a critical hit, and it knocks the Cloyster out. The level 35 Kadabra is next. It outspeeds with a super effective Confusion and takes Machamp down to 17 hit points due to a critical hit. If that was a critical hit Psybeam, I would have fainted. Karate Chop connects and the frail Psychic type is no more. So Jolteon is last, and I have no hope of outspeeding it. It uses Double Kick. That's it. Or not? Machamp survives at 3 hit points and Dig knocks Jolteon out. Finally, I choose to face Erica. I could have honestly done this fight earlier, but since her Pokemon have status conditions, I felt that prioritizing training would result in more consistency. At this point, I'm happy with my choice because Machamp hasn't had to reset even once. It clocks in with a time of 43 minutes and 25 seconds. Let's go back to Golem now, and the mandatory trainers in Rock Tunnel are easy for it. It's time for Rock Slide. Aerodactyl, Kabutops, and Omastar might not learn this move, but at least Golem does. Thanks, Game Freak. Now, can Stab Dig and Stab Rock Slide help Golem catch up to Machamp? I'm following directly in its path after all, so I'll start with training in Pokemon Tower and then in Sylph. The rival in Sylph opens with Sandslash. I can't knock it out with a single hit, but because of its moveset, my Rock Soccer Ball isn't afraid. Earthquake makes quick work of Ninetales, and Rock Slide almost one-shots Cloyster. Please, not a water move. Okay, Withdraw is an acceptable water move, I'll take that. Kadabra outspeeds, and this is clearly a display of the differences from Machamp. Psychic moves just don't deal much damage to Golem at all. Last is Jolteon, and it kicks Golem like a soccer ball. I think that this joke is probably getting kind of worn out now, like a well-used soccer ball. I should probably look for something else to do, like maybe I should go outside and play soccer. I just can't stop. Playing soccer with Golem is just too fun. Erica's next, and I'm scared. Rock Slide hits Tangela and almost knocks it out. I got a massive adrenaline hit next when it used Vine Whip, but Golem's level prevents too much damage from being dealt. Next is Weepinbell. Golem outspeeds with Earthquake and knocks it out. Gloom is the same story. This fight would have been impossible without training, but after completing a large grind, Golem defeats the Grass Gym Leader with a time of 45 minutes and 58 seconds. Machamp still needs to work out though, so it's time for a bike ride. The trainers here are easy and provide much needed experience before Koga. I think that I'm ready for the Ninja Master now. He opens with Venonat, Machamp outspeeds, uses Dig, and knocks it out. This repeats 2 more times on the following Venonat. But the true test is the Behemoth Venomoth, which is a flying Psychic type, and obviously it's Machamp's worst nightmare. Koga chooses Psychic and does just under half damage. Dig takes Venomoth down to orange health. It doesn't get a critical hit, and I'm able to finish the moth off. At a level lower than 50, I may have just taken slightly too much damage and been knocked out by 2 successive hits from Psychic. It's a really good thing that I trained. As I progress through Pokemon Mansion, I pick up the vitamins here. Machamp really needs his post-workout shake to recover after the tough fight against Koga. In the lull between Koga and Sabrina, I get a chance to take Blaine on, who should be a very nice recovery workout for Machamp. He sends out Ninetales first and Flamethrower immediately does 1/3 damage to Machamp. Okay, I guess I'll start paying attention now. Rapidash is next, and it uses Growl, which lowers Machamp's attack, allowing the Fire Horse to survive Dig. Machamp is hovering just above half health as Blaine's Ace Arcanine comes out. I outspeed it and get underground, avoiding its takedown. I'm just happy that it didn't use Reflect. Dig hits and takes it into orange health, and then the Fire Doggo lands Flamethrower, and oh my... Okay, I survived. Dig hits again, and Machamp did it, but that was more difficult than I expected. Now it's time for the second phase of my plan. I grab the free coins that are on the ground in the game corner and then spend the money that I've earned during training to purchase coins. This allows me to buy Hyper Beam for Machamp, because according to Generation 1 logic, the larger your muscles, the stronger your beam. Sabrina is next. I bet all of you think that Machamp is going to struggle against her. Abra is first and Karate Chop knocks it out. Kadabra uses Psy-Wave, and this move deals variable damage, and it's quite frankly just bad in Generation 1. Machamp survives with green health. Alakazam is last. I'm banking on one thing here, that Sabrina is going to use X-Defend or have Alakazam use a useless move. Recover is her pick, and then Karate Chop does enough damage to knock the Alakazam out. That's a time of 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 31 seconds. I'm so pleased with this performance. No resets so far. I need to take the same approach with Golem, but that's for a different reason. In its case, I want to reach a high enough level to get past Giovanni and Lorelei without issues. In contrast with Machamp, these next 3 gyms are actually really easy. Koga would have been a clean sweep if I was level 52 or had been able to get a better roll on my range. Blaine is quite frankly just another trainer that Golem smashes for experience. A burn does occur, but even with that the fight is easy. Guess I didn't need my burn heal, Blaine. Sabrina's also not a problem for Golem because it takes neutral damage from psychic attacks. And before Giovanni, it's clocking in with a time of 1 hour and 54 seconds. You might think Golem's taken the lead for the first time, but that isn't the case. I'm fighting Sabrina first, and then I'm going to obtain Hyper Beam after defeating her. It's time for Machamp to face Giovanni. Dugtrio's first, and it outspeeds and uses Fissure, but it misses. Thankfully my Earthquake takes it out. That was one of the most stressful parts of the fight. And then Submission goes and is completely awful. I really hate this move, I hate when it misses. Luckily the Persian doesn't do anything before it gets knocked out. Earthquake takes care of Nidoqueen and Nidoking, and last is Giovanni's ace Rhydon. My first hit doesn't finish it off. He just uses Guard Spec, and then I take care of it on the second turn. I think that Submission might have gotten the job done here instead, but I wanted to avoid the recoil damage in case Rhydon used Earthquake. And after all, Submission is bad and can just miss, so I don't like that move. Let's move on. The only thing between Machamp and the league is the final rival. I knock out Sandslash over 2 turns with Earthquake. After that, Execute survives a Karate Chop because it didn't get a critical hit. The strange egg thing then uses Stun Spore and paralyzes Machamp. Oh no, is this gonna spiral out of control? I take it out with a second critical hit from Karate Chop, and then Ninetales is an easy one-shot with Earthquake. Cloyster is next. First turn it confuses Machamp, and the combination of confusion and paralysis is just too much for the fighting phenom to deal with. It faints, and that's my first reset. On my second attempt I get poisoned instead. That's much better than paralysis. With my speed unaltered, I can now get back to Cloyster in a much better position than I was in before. With full speed, I move first and Submission deals massive damage to the clamping shell, causing it to faint. Kadabra is next and I outspeed it. Finally, it's his Jolteon. In this fight, it knows Agility, which is a psychic move, and he has good AI, so it just spams it against Machamp and it's an easy path to victory. After completing Victory Road, Machamp is ready for the league with a time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 45 seconds. It's Golem's turn. Dugtrio outspeeds with Dig and does just over 1/4 damage to Golem before fainting. Persian is next, and I also knock it out in a single hit. Because I've done a great job leveling to this point, I can outspeed Nidoqueen and Nidoking and knock them both out with a single hit from Earthquake. Rhydon is last, and Golem is incredible with Stab Earthquake, finishing the dinosaur off in 1 turn. It's Golem's time to shine. Can it make it past the rival without a reset? Sandslash uses Poison Sting, and I take it out in 2 hits. Ninetales is easy to deal with, thanks Earthquake. Cloyster comes out, and Rock Slide gets the job done. Not done? It survives? And uses Clamp. 4 times effective damage. Please only 2 hits. But it lands 3 times, finishing Golem off. So this fight is also Golem's first reset. I guess the game is just keeping things fair between these two. I try again to see if I can get a better roll against the Cloyster, but it still survives with a sliver of health. This time it uses Aurora Beam, and because it's only 2 times effective, Golem stays in green health. Next, Kadabra outspeeds with Psybeam, which does a lot of damage because of a critical hit, but Golem survives and finishes the Psychic Cat thing off. Jolteon is last, and I've only got 30 hit points left. It uses Pin Missile, and it only does 3 damage per hit, so I survive and Earthquake knocks it out. After completing Victory Road, Golem clocks in with a time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 45 seconds. Here are the stats and movesets going into the league. They really do need to be this level to have a shot at the league without relying purely on RNG. In my practice runs, I arrived at the league at a lower level, and both Golem and Machamp struggled as a result. I tried a bunch of different movesets, but raw power is really what they need. So this time I drank my pre-workout, hit the gym, went for a bike ride, played soccer far too many times, and now I'm ready to see how they can perform in the league. Machamp is first. I use Rock Slide against Dugong, which takes it into red health. It uses rest and falls asleep, giving Machamp the time it needs to knock it out and move on to Cloyster. Here I use Submission to ensure that I'll deal maximum damage against this physical wall. It faints due to a critical hit. Slowbro, who's next, is really terrifying for Machamp. I take a strange approach here and try Mimic with the hope of improving my special stat. This will help Machamp tank hits from Slowbro's Psychic and allow me to survive against Jinx and Lapras, should they land hits. In retrospect, I think that this is just a big misplay, and in this case, Machamp pays for it with a reset. You might actually wonder why I chose to do this in the first place though, and that is a fair question. This move choice came about after I struggled against Slowbro in my practice playthrough. When I made it back here in this second playthrough, I made a false equivalency. I thought that I needed a different move choice to progress, but I forgot that previously I was trying to win at a lower level. In the second fight, I just knocked the Slowbro out as soon as possible. With that out of the way, Rock Slide does enough damage to take Jinx and Lapras out, so that was much easier than my last attempt. Next is that hiker that hangs out between Lorelei and Agatha. Because he isn't part of the Elite Four, he's easy, and I just move on. Agatha is next. Despite its fighting type, Machamp is excellent here. I can outspeed all of her team except the Gengars. The first can't do anything to me because of its moveset, and the last could force a reset because it has Hypnosis and Psychic. In this fight, it tries Hypnosis, but it misses, and Machamp takes care of it with Earthquake. Lance is next. In my practice attempt, I made it past him on my first try, so I'm not worried going into this battle. Rock Slide does good damage to Gyarados, and it uses Dragon Rage. Rock Slide lands again and finishes the Flying Knot Dragon off. I try Submission against Dragonair, but it misses, because of course it does, and Dragonair does a small amount of damage to me with Thunderbolt. Submission knocks it out next turn, and then the second Dragonair comes out. Here I tank Ice Beam and steal it with Mimic. But because Machamp's special is not particularly good, I don't knock the Dragonair out, and then it takes me down with a critical hit Hyper Beam. So this is bad. Now I'm on my 5th attempt against Lance, and it's really sinking in that I might not have trained enough. My practice run led me to believe that this fight would be easy, but it really isn't. Gyarados and the Dragonairs aren't difficult, but the real sticking point is Aerodactyl. In yellow, it knows Wing Attack and Fly, which paired with its speed makes super effective critical hits common. On the 9th fight, I'm actually going into the Aerodactyl fight with plenty of health, and I'm feeling good about this. But even without a critical hit, Fly takes Machamp out. So maybe the 10th time is the charm? Here Aerodactyl attempts Fly, but this time it misses, and that lets Machamp use Rock Slide, and it knocks the Flying Terror out, aided by a critical hit. So it took luck to get here to the Dragonite. Rock Slide takes it down to orange health, and then it uses Hyper Beam, but Machamp survives. Please let Rock Slide hit. It does. Machamp is past the Elite Four with a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 3 seconds. Having to reset 8 times against Lance is painful though, but the worst part of the league is next, in the form of Alakazam, the most powerful Generation 1 trait evolution. The champion starts with Sandslash, and it poisons me right away. Next turn I miss my Hyper Beam, and then the slashing ground type uses Earthquake, and it takes me down to just above half health. Alakazam is next. It outspeeds with Psychic and knocks Machamp out immediately. On the second fight, I make it back to the Alakazam, and I've got even higher health this time, but then Psychic just crits and knocks me out again. I know Machamp can do this though, I just need Alakazam to use Recover, Kinesis, or Psybeam instead. That's a 3 in 4 chance for me to get a desirable outcome. When I planned this run, I thought this was good enough odds, but after how Lance went, I'm starting to get worried. In this third fight, I get past the Sandslash with green health. Alakazam uses Psybeam, and Machamp survives the hit. Here we go. I should have trusted my planning. Hyper Beam hits the frail Psychic type and knocks it out in a single hit. But I'm not out of the woods yet. Executor is really annoying. Hypnosis, Leech Seed, Barrage, and Stomp are all frustrating. But I can use Rest to heal and move on with decent health. Finally, I manage it with a critical hit from Hyper Beam, and I'm moving on to the Cloyster. And then I have to use the health that I recovered on Executor to use Submission 2 turns in a row. Ninetales is a simple one-hit, and I think that I've done it. Jolteon misses Thunder, and Machamp knocks it out, getting a time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 19 seconds. Now, can Golem get a better time? Well, Lorelei is the first significant challenge. Luckily, Rock Slide is super effective against her ice types. However, its accuracy is only 90% and it misses. Dugong's Bubble Beam does so much damage, and then Rock Slide finally lands and I one-hit it. But Cloyster survives the next turn with a sliver of health and knocks Golem out with Clamp. I get better Rock Slide luck and take the Dugong out immediately on the next fight, but then Rock Slide misses against Cloyster. Lorelei chooses Ice Beam and it does half damage to Golem. When Rock Slide connects, it doesn't knock the shell out. However, it triggers a Super Potion which allows me to attack again and knock it out the next turn. Slowbro is next. I need to avoid Surf. I use Hyper Beam and it gets a critical hit and knocks it out in one hit. So that was pretty lucky. Jinx is the Pokemon that I'm most scared of though. There's no way for me to outspeed it at this level. Ice Punch hits and I survive. And then Rock Slide gets the job done. Only Lapras remains, but Rock Slide is enough, and Golem is moving on after its second fight. Agatha's probably going to be so easy. The only issue that I can foresee here is Gengar with Mega Drain, and this turns out to be the case. After that I can sweep through her team with Earthquake and Rock Slide until the final Gengar. I just need to avoid a Hypnosis. I do, and Golem is moving on to Lance. He opens with Gyarados, and due to Stab modifier and super effective damage, Rock Slide takes Gyarados down in a single hit. I use Hyper Beam against the Dragonair, but Earthquake would have been the better choice. Fun fact actually, neutral Earthquake has 150 power and 100% accuracy, which is the same power as Hyper Beam, but just better accuracy. Aerodactyl isn't an issue for Golem because I resist all of its moves. Rock Slide does super effective damage and the Flying Terror faints. Dragonite is last. I outspeed and Rock Slide misses, but Dragonite misses as well. Second turn though, my Rock Slide hits, and with that Dragonite faints. Golem finishes the Elite Four with a time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 51 seconds. The champion is last. I outspeed Sandslash, but I don't knock it out, so I have to tank an Earthquake. Alakazam is next, but in this case, it can't knock me out without a critical hit. It misses Kinesis, and Golem proceeds to Exeggutor. Leech Seed gets set up, and this gives Golem the opportunity to knock out the Egg Pineapple with Rock Slide. Cloyster's where all this could fall apart, because I can't one-hit it with Rock Slide, but it uses Aurora Beam and Golem survives and then knocks it out. Look at the clock. Golem could do this. Ninetales comes out and it uses Confuse Ray before I manage to heal, but I don't damage myself and Golem recovers. Finally, I attack and I knock it out. With that, Jolteon is an easy one hit and Golem finishes the game with a time of 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 22 seconds. To my great surprise, Golem is the winner. It finished with a faster time and less resets. So let's unpack this because this was really surprising to me when it happened. Here's why I think it played out this way. Number 1, Golem outperformed in the mid to late game because of access to Stab on Earthquake and Rock Slide. These two moves cover Golem's 4 times weaknesses in the league. Earthquake for Agatha's Mega Draining Gengar and Rock Slide for both of the Cloysters. Number 2, Machamp has no good options to deal with Lance's Aerodactyl or the champion's Alakazam. Number 3, I did find Golem simpler to play with as well. It always has a good stab option against the opponent, while Machamp's lack of non-recoil stab moves makes it harder to figure out. So this was too close. I sat at my computer in disbelief after I finished playing these playthroughs. When I finally got up, I just kind of walked around and was like, that seems weird. How did Golem win? So it really did impress me, but I kept wondering, did I make too many mistakes with Machamp? Could I optimize things more and shave significant time off of its playthrough? I could play through the game again with Machamp, but that wouldn't be fair, because I could also apply new optimizations to Golem if I did an additional playthrough for it as well. But doing 2 additional playthroughs is just honestly so much work. These videos take so long to record audio, write scripts, edit the video, so I just unfortunately don't have time to do another playthrough right now. Did I get you? Because yeah, of course I did another playthrough with both of these Pokemon. So just wait, don't click off the video, stay and listen to me talk about my muscular physique for a little bit longer, and also mention my girlfriend a few times, who is clearly with me because of my sweet bod. But actually, stay and listen because I'm going to go through this next playthrough very quickly. Let's examine exactly what I did differently. With Machamp, the early game is largely unchanged from my previous playthrough. I level up before fighting the optional rival a little bit more to make this fight consistent so that it won't cause a fluke reset. Before Celadon, the details worth noting are that I skipped Seismic Toss and I made a few better move choices against Misty. Golem takes a bit of extra time to train for the optional rival as well. Last time having my attack lowered caused the fight to take longer, so I thought that an additional level might speed things up a bit. However, this fight still takes a while. Brock is another slog, but in this portion of the game I skipped optional potions and heals, because Golem is rock hard and it can take a pounding. Anyways, these small optimizations let me clock in with a time of 8 minutes and 30 seconds, roughly a minute faster than my last time. Between Brock and Celadon, I also skipped Seismic Toss with Golem. Misty and Surge are both simple, and with that, let's compare the times between these two Pokemon. In the previous attempt, Golem was 11 minutes and 30 seconds behind Machamp, but now it's only 5 minutes and 19 seconds behind. A lot of small efficiencies really added up, and there's just more time to squeeze out of Golem's run early on than there was from Machamp's. Now that we're entering the Celadon portion of the game, there are more significant changes. I haven't mentioned yet, but at this point I haven't been collecting high-priced items. I'm going to be skipping Hyper Beam. Removing the time buying coins in the game corner alone will improve Machamp's time significantly. Instead, I'll use my money to purchase vitamins. Attack, speed, and special are my focus. Of these, speed is the most important, because I need it to get past the Sylph's rivals Kadabra, Koga's Venomoth, and Sabrina's Alakazam. After finishing the plot off, it's time for Koga. Earthquake does enough damage to knock out all 3 of the Venonat in a single hit. All the training has really paid off. Venomoth, the flying psychic type, comes out, and it's fast and hits Machamp with psychic, and it lowers my special. Earthquake does good damage, but because the Moth outspeeds, it takes me out next turn. That's the first reset. Without the special drop, Machamp will knock it out though. However, this time, Venomoth gets a critical hit, and it takes Machamp down to red health in a single hit. Great, I'm finished again. Third fight's the charm, I guess. Venomoth doesn't crit this time or get a special drop. It uses a second psychic, and it gets another crit. Last time I made it all the way to the pre-league rival fight without resetting once, and this time I've had to reset 3 times on Koga. I change up my strategy and head over to Sylph to face the rival there instead. The only Pokemon here that I'm worried about is Kadabra. However, I planned out my speed stat, so I know that I'm going to outspeed it at this level. Time to head back to Koga. No more bad luck, please. Koga heard me and decides to use an X-Attack on Venomoth. Clearly, Game Freak didn't change his items when they gave him a bunch of special attackers in yellow. Whoops. The final 3 gyms are just training. I fight all the trainers in the gym and then sweep through the leaders' teams with ease. Sabrina's Alakazam could have caused a reset, but it uses Reflect, which is useless against Karate Chop anyways. Because of all this training, I'm 3 levels higher at the start of the final rival fight. Execute still survives my Karate Chop, but this time it uses Solar Beam instead of paralyzing me. That's all that I need to achieve victory. I'll be skipping Hyper Beam with Golem as well. It just wasn't needed in the league because Earthquake and Rock Slide have equivalent power. I mirror Machamp's training route by defeating nearly all of the Pokemon in Pokemon Tower, Sylph, the Fighting Dojo, and Cycling Road. After that, I take care of Erica. Golem is massively overleveled for this fight, and that makes it consistent. Now we get to see one of Golem's advantages over Machamp. Koga has no chance against the Soccer Ball. Yeah, I'm still on Soccer Balls, whatever. Psychic moves do hardly any damage, and I can just tank a hit from Venomoth. Additionally, because Golem has the same type attack bonus on Earthquake, I can one-shot the Moth with ease. The second example of this is Sabrina, who doesn't stand a chance against this rock. Here's the proof. Alakazam uses Psychic, and it doesn't even take Golem into orange health. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Golem arrives at the league without resetting, and with a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 48 seconds. I'm 9 minutes and 57 seconds faster than last time. Machamp, on the other hand, which one you say? This other hand. It arrived at the league 2 minutes and 44 seconds earlier than in its previous playthrough. However, the big advantage here is that I'm 6 levels higher. Skipping Hyper Beam is the largest contributing factor to this massive level swing. The additional levels make Machamp more well-rounded with better defense and speed. This really matters. Like the fact that I have a girlfriend. It's a versus video after all, so I have to have at least 3 references. In the league, Machamp was previously struggling to get ranges against Lorelei's Dugong, but now it can take it out easily with a single Rock Slide. The fewer times that I use this move, the better. I can get past the Ice Master on my first attempt this time. It was much smoother. Lance was the most significant hurdle for Machamp last time. Muscles just don't help very much when you're up against dragons. Rock Slide one-hits the Gyarados, and I use Earthquake for the Dragonairs for the increased accuracy. Aerodactyl is next. It goes for Wing Attack, and Machamp tanks it like a champ. You see what I did there? Rock Slide hits Dragonite and doesn't knock the cute dragon out, giving it an opportunity to hit Machamp with Blizzard. But the champ survives and KOs the dragon next turn. 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 14 seconds. Machamp is 9 minutes and 49 seconds faster than last time, and I didn't need to reset once during the league. I've improved consistency and time. For Golem, the league starts with the scariest member, Lorelei. Luckily, Rock Slide is super effective against her. Oh great, missed first turn. Rock moves are just awful in Generation 1. Oh, a critical hit, Bubble Beam. Just great. That's how my perfect end runs. Thank goodness that this isn't a Nuzlocke. Maybe I should do one of those soon. Anyways, that's a great example of how Rock Slide makes Golem inconsistent. There isn't much that I can do to improve those odds though. If I get hit by Bubble Beam, Clamp, or Hydro Pump, it's just gonna be over. On the second fight, Golem aims his rocks correctly and knocks out her first 2 Pokemon. Slowbro is next. Withdraw is a water move, so it uses it first turn. Second turn I don't KO because of the defense boost, but it uses Withdraw again. Golem continues to aim his rocks well and knocks out her final 2 Pokemon. Against Lance, I make a mistake. I used Rock Slide against the first Dragonair. I really should have just used Earthquake. Lucky for me, it doesn't know any moves that pose a threat to Golem. After that, I Rock Slide my way through this flying type specialist's team. Golem gets a time of 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 59 seconds. For Machamp, Butt is not actually the champ. It's much more complicated than that. Machamp is the champ. Wearing jokes out really seems to be the theme for today. Anyways, Butt isn't the champ because Machamp is the champ. No. I mean, the champion is basically Butt's Alakazam. It's the final test. Will I outspeed? Nope, but it fails a Kinesis and then gets knocked out right away. I do think that I could have survived its attack at my new level though. Karate Chop is useful against Exeggutor. Speaking of wore out, this move's PP feels like it never wears out. It's just a lot larger than the PP of Hyper Beam, so there's no fear of PP issues this round. Machamp finishes at level 68 with a time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 47 seconds. Can Golem do it? It's currently at 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 59 seconds, so that gives the Rock Soccer Ball 2 minutes and 48 seconds to defeat the champion. You have no idea how hard my heart was pounding when I was playing this champion fight. I take too much damage against the initial Sand Slash, and then Alakazam finishes Golem off. Okay, there's still time. Second fight, I get past Sand Slash with enough health to survive the Alakazam's hit. Exeggutor is next, and it's gonna spam Leech Seed, because it knows that Grass is really good against rock and ground Pokemon. Excellent choice, Butt. This gives me time to take it out slowly, but I don't want to go slow. Time is ticking, and I'm rapidly approaching Machamp's time. Cloyster comes out again and clamps Golem into oblivion. I think I just might need luck here. In my previous playthrough it used Aurora Beam, which only does 2 times damage, but I get a different kind of luck on the next fight. Cloyster misses Clamp and Golem finishes it off. I should be home free now, but Ninetales confuses Golem. I hit myself in confusion once before I knock it out. Jolteon is last. It uses Pin Missile, and it really feels like the AI is just trying to delay my victory as long as possible. My Earthquake lands and Bud is defeated. Golem clocks in with a time of 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 35 seconds. 12 seconds faster than Machamp. Is this real? These two are so even. A difference of 2 minutes and 57 seconds in the first playthrough and 12 seconds in the second playthrough. 12 seconds. So guess what I did next? I wrote the script and produced the video. These take forever to make, and I just need to get the content out there. Nope, just kidding. I didn't do that. I played through the game again with both of these Pokemon. It's just too close. I can't leave it here. Like, I'll just stay up at night thinking about who's actually better. With Machamp, I'm able to get my fastest time yet in Brock and Misty splits. And then I get poisoned on the SSN. I don't have any antidotes here because I'm trying to go as fast as possible. And Vermilion Mart doesn't actually sell them. If I heal in the Pokemon Center, I'll have to walk back to Cerulean before Rock Tunnel instead of using Dig and Diglett's Tunnel. So I made the tough decision to head straight for Surge's gym. I paused the timer in here because it's purely RNG, but today there's a different timer ticking for Machamp, the poison timer. Making this bad situation into pure comedy is the fact that I just can't find the second trash can. While I was writing the script, I realized that I could have just saved at the start of the gym and then reset until I got the puzzle solved with Machamp's health being only minimally impacted. But when I was playing through, I didn't think of that solution, so it's not here in the video today. Surge opens with Raichu, and because I have low health, it outspeeds and knocks Machamp out. Please, only one reset, please, only one. On the second fight, he uses X speed, giving Machamp the chance to go wild digging with all 4 of its hands. I did it. I exit the gym and I check Machamp's health. To ensure that I make it to Diglett's cave, which is my way back to Cerulean, I buy a potion and heal Machamp. This situation has an impact on Machamp's time in this run. Both my Surge and Erica split are slightly slower than my last attempt. If the difference had been much more, I would have just restarted playing the playthrough, but I figured there were other ways to improve my time. Koga is one possible area. Last time it took 3 resets here. This time Venomoth comes out and immediately gets a critical hit against Machamp. Absolutely perfect. It seems like Venomoth just really hates Machamp. Like it just really wants to like KO him in one hit. On the second fight, Koga uses an item first turn with the Venomoth, and that's great because the second turn it gets a critical hit with Psychic. This thing isn't Psychic Flying type, it's more like critical hit typing. Sabrina is a lottery, but I get past her on my first attempt. The final rival's a bit scary, but I don't have to reset. Machamp arrives at the league with a time of 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 17 seconds. I was right. Even after the awful poison situation, I'm faster to the league than before. At this point, I was a bit nervous going into this third Golem playthrough. I did so well last time, I'm not sure that I can get a better result. I don't have a big change to implement, like skipping Hyper Beam this time or changing my moveset. I get past Brock and further improve my time by 30 seconds. So there are still some gains to be made. Not on my real life muscles though, of course, those are already maxed out. Now let's see how far I can take these improvements. And then Misty stops Golem dead in its tracks with 1 reset. I managed to finish her off on the second fight though. I tried my best from here. I managed to get a 2-second improvement on Surge, but after that my time slipped significantly from my previous playthrough. I think that this is largely due to the routing. I prioritized training before fighting key trainers. I also attempted to buy vitamins earlier, but these changes didn't work out as I was hoping that they would. That leads Golem to clock in with a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 52 seconds before the league. That's 2 minutes and 4 seconds slower than my second playthrough. For Machamp, Lorelei should be simple. Rock Slide for Dugong, and Submission for Cloyster, because of its high physical defense. Slowbro is next, and first turn it goes for Psychic. No, oh my god. Okay, I survived that critical hit. That was so tense. I was so tense going into the Jinx fight. It's time for the Rock Slide slot machine, and it lands 3 times in a row, and with that, I'm moving on. Skipping Agatha, Lance could be a problem with Aerodactyl. It uses Fly, but Machamp takes hardly any damage and finishes off the prehistoric Pokemon with Rock Slide. Dragonite is last. Rock Slide doesn't KO it, but Machamp's decent base special allows it to tank Thunder and finish the fight off on the next turn. Time for Golem to take on Lorelei, and she defeats him again because of Rock Slide luck. Why wasn't Ancient Power a thing in this generation? I'd take that over Rock Slide any day. The next fight, the rocks fall where they need to, and Golem moves on through Agatha, who's still incredibly easy. Lance is a flying specialist, and Rock Slide is great against his Pokemon. It's champion time. Most of his team is easy with the exception of Cloyster. This time I get lucky and a critical hit finishes it off. Golem gets a time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 7 seconds. That's 32 seconds slower than my previous attempt. If we take out the unlucky loss against Misty, I basically clocked in with the same time. So it doesn't appear that my mid-game routing changes affected the endgame result at all. So how will Machamp do? Can it get past Alakazam fast enough to clock in faster than Golem? This time, Alakazam uses Psybeam, and I was so confident. But then this happened. Okay, good. That critical hit was almost a reset. Luckily, Executor is a great time to heal up and take things a bit slower. Cloyster is next. Submission doesn't knock it out, and then its Aurora Beam lowers Machamp's attack. Oh no, not like this. Ninetales Quick Attack does chip damage, and Earthquake doesn't knock it out. But I outspeed so it faints the next turn. Jolteon is last. Oh no. Thunder. It does massive damage, but Machamp survives with 30 hit points. I did it, with a time of 1 hour and 13 minutes. Machamp is 1 minute and 7 seconds faster than Golem in my final playthrough. The original poll and my prediction had overwhelming confidence in this 4-armed fighting boss, but the results suggest that these two are incredibly well matched for a Generation 1 playthrough. Overall, Golem was faster in round 1 and 2, and got a lower level finish in the second round. Machamp was faster in round 3, and got a lower level finish in round 1. However, this low level finish came at the cost of 12 resets, the majority of which occurred during Lance. So I don't think the result from round 1 for finishing level is a realistic result for Machamp if your goal is speed and consistency. They both tied for level of finish in round 3, and total resets in round 2 and 3. I did complete a consistent league run where I don't save between the league members with both of these Pokemon after round 1, and the results went in favor of Golem. But I'm actually rethinking my approach to the consistent league playthroughs, so I'm going to choose to omit this section from this video at this time. It'll show up in other videos later on. I'm surprised, but this is my closest versus yet. So who wins? They are so close in all the metrics. Machamp did get the fastest overall time in all the playthroughs, but the margin it achieved it with is not significant enough to say that it could do it again. I'm gonna call this one a tie. What do you think? Do you think there's one clear winner? How would I improve each one of their playthroughs? Let me know in the comments. My script editor Roy deserves a huge round of applause for the work he did on this video. Thanks so much. Now it's story time. After I finished Alakazam vs Gengar, my computer was cursed, and it kept overheating and shutting down after being on for only like 30 seconds. Joe, who owns a computer repair shop, came to my rescue and helped me fix my computer, and he did it free of charge. He helped so much that I want to give his business a shout out. It's called HPD Computer Repair, and it's located in Roseburg, Oregon, so consider giving him some business if Gengar curses your computer as well. Thanks again, Joe. Remember to like, subscribe, ring the chime echo, and share this video with a friend. Also comment because I gotta read them all. If you want to go above and beyond to support me, consider joining my Patreon. Ad-free videos, a Discord server, and a spot in the credits await you. What matters most is that you're here watching. If you've made it this far, you're incredible. And now it's time for bloopers. And there are quite a few of them this time. So enjoy. I'll see you in my next video. Against Brock, low kick lands and takes Geodude down to a single hit. In a single hit. Ha! Against Brock, ugh, what happened to my voice? Against Brock, I swallowed my voice. It's just like gone. Swallow a lot of voice. Oh no. Oh, that's gonna be a fun Pokemon to make a video on in Gen 3. Oh, the jokes. I wonder if Swallow has pee-pee problems. That's the real joke. The bloopers are gonna be so long if I just keep riffing on this. Like, I need to stop. Here we get to see one of the biggest drawbacks of Machamp's typing. Fighting moves have awful accuracy? No, not awful. While Golem, it's not Golem, this is not Lord of the Rings. Actually, oh my gosh, I gotta find a place for this. Okay, so it's not Lord of the Rings, but when I was a kid, I used to call Golem. I was like, it's Golem. It's like Geodude evolves into Graveler, evolves into Golem. I was like, that's neat. And then like whenever my mom would actually like talk to me about Lord of the Rings, she would say Golem, and I would just like see Golem in the cave like with the ring on its finger and stuff like that. Oh, it's so stupid. With the bridge behind me, I can face Misty. Karate Chop takes Staryu to row Red Brow. Oh my gosh. Fail. Okay, here we go again. Stop doing that. Why do I do that? Maybe it's good, actually. Like, maybe I'm just gonna deliver my lines way better now. It's like the actor was like warming up and George Lucas was just like, yes, can we please have more of that in the movie? And he was like, I would prefer not. And he's like, did we catch that? Yeah, we can just edit it in and post. With Nugget Bridge behind me, I can face Misty. Karate Chop takes Staryu to low red health because it failed to, I was doing so well. I swear, I've laid down like a quarter of this script in absolutely no time. And then I just like this, I can't talk about Misty. Okay, here we go. Rock Tunnel is no issue. The Slowpoke do slow me down, and Rock Tunnel isn't really an issue. The Slowpoke, oh my gosh. It's funny that the Slowpoke are always like so slow to take out in these games. It's like the game that just like wanted you to be frustrated. As a kid, I hated Slowpoke because I was always using psychic moves and Slowpoke would come along and I'd be like one hitting everything else, and then I'd like 3-hit the Slowpoke and just be like, I hate this. But I couldn't make sound because I was in the bathroom because my mom was like, he's not playing video games during the week. Machamp, on the other hand, needs to work very hard to obtain its defined Chad bod. I put chatbot in the chat. Oh my gosh, chatbot in the script. Okay, that's funny. After obtaining the Pokeflute, I could like make there's a PP joke earlier on, and then there's like a Nurse Joy shut up from talking now, and then Pokeflute immediately after it. How can I fuse all of these together into some just super innuendo? Maybe I'll have to do it in another video. Cloyster is next, and Submission is on my moveset almost entirely exclusively. Wonderful. Almost entirely exclusively. This is like the... My writing is bad. I fix so much of it when I'm recording. I teach Machamp Dig as well as Body Slam. It's easy to take care of the rival. Surge it. I read this line already. Oh my gosh. Just like rereading the same line, just like, yeah. Oh, it's great. It's going well this time. Gotta deliver this, gotta get swole line better. Gotta get swole. Gotta get swole. I don't know how to deliver it. How should it? Gotta get swole. I should just like go like really low voice all of a sudden and shock everyone. Okay, here we go. Machamp gets its supplements. Gotta get swole. And then I teach it rock slide. That's so stupid. Oh, that's so stupid. I don't know if I should put that in. Okay, I'm gonna record it like 3 different ways and then I'll decide which one's best later. But like, gotta get swole is so dumb. Oh my gosh.